This episode is sponsored by Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia. Upcoming featured entertainment includes The Steel Woods on April 26th and Little River Band on May 3rd. Details and tickets at HollywoodCasinoCharlestown.com. Must be 21 to enter the casino floor and attend a show. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Today is New Kids on the Block Day, as tickets go on sale to the group's show at Merriweather Post Pavilion in Columbia, Maryland on August 16th. I spoke to founding member Joey McIntyre about the band's biggest hits, from Hangin' Tough to Step by Step. Hey, Joey McIntyre. Hey, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP in Washington, D.C.
Great to be here.
And we're talking because on this day, 35 years ago, I guess it was April 24th, 1989, April 24th was declared New Kids on the Block Day in Massachusetts. So you all are doing a pretty cool 35th anniversary celebration of that with a special ticket offer to the August 16th concert at Merriweather Post Pavilion in Columbia, Maryland.
The cool thing about, this tour is we haven't been outside under the stars in a long time. I mean, we've been in arenas, and so it feels like a throwback, to do these, what they call sheds, these outdoor arenas. Mm-hmm. And Merriweather Post, that venue is beautiful. And we are excited. We have a new album, coming out May 17th. And, of course, we play all the hits from back in the day. So it's a good mix of then and now.
Absolutely. I like how you call it the outdoor sheds.
Yeah, that's an industry. That's an inside baseball term. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's I think it's hilarious. Yeah. Yes, but as you said, Merriweather is a legendary spot. And it's gonna be the Magic Summer Tour outdoors under the stars it's gonna be cool. And you have some pretty special people with you. It's like Paula Abdul, DJ Jazzy Jeff. I mean, that's gonna be a nice nostalgic throwback there to like the.
Oh, absolutely. We've been lucky enough to work with Paula before, and she really is a legend and everything. You'd want her to be, like, as a fan. She's just so positive and bubbly and gives the best hugs. And, she's a total pro. So to have her on the road is amazing. And DJ Jazzy Jeff, if you don't love DJ Jazzy Jeff, you got issues.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? And I think last time we spoke to the band, I talked to Jonathan Knight in, I guess, 2021 when you're doing the mixtape tour at Capital One Arena in DC, and I think then you played with Salt and Pepper and Rick Astley and In Vogue. Yep. Like, how did that one go with those legends?
Amazing. I mean, we were able to, the last few tours we've done the mixtape tour, and what's cool about it is we kicked off the show and we ended the show, and in between, and we put all these acts, we had so many great acts. It's like, oh, no, you don't have to open. You don't have to whatever. We're going to tee you up, and like the acts come in and out. So it's one big team, and it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's one of the best parts of, being in this business is to get to work with people.
I love it. Absolutely. Well, let's, whenever I have someone on, I always love to sort of, remind them of sort of the band's backstory and how you all, I call it your superhero origin story. Like, how did you all form in Massachusetts? I know you were like the youngest member, and so sort of like added after sort of towards the tail end of the formation, but like, didn't the rest of the guys meet in like elementary school? And then Maurice Starr, who is New Edition's producer, sort of, decided they suggested they add you as sort of a younger, like a little Michael Jackson kind of a guy. Is that how it happened?
Yeah, that's roughly kind of the vibe. Donnie was the first guy in there, and met Maurice like we all did eventually. And Donnie was just, his spirit and his desire to work with Maurice, and he really hung in there. And then he finally said, I got to get some more guys. And then he just went back to, his buddies that he grew up in school with, and knowing, Jordan and John sang in the choir, and, Danny was his buddy, was breakdancing, and it just kind of put it together, like much like any teenage band, and then I was doing theater like a couple of neighborhoods over, and at the time, I was like 12, which is the big difference between 12 and 16. And so, there was a big difference. They wanted that little guy, and I just happened to be the right fit and hang in there, and the rest is history.
Did they, being the youngest, did they ever, did you ever feel like you were getting picked on, or did you just idolize them so much as like big brothers, or how'd that dynamic work being the youngest?
It wasn't easy. It was not easy. It was not easy. Yeah, for sure. But we all have our struggles and challenges, and I certainly had mine, but we hung in there.
I love it. I love it. Well, obviously that first album, New Kids on the Block, came out in '86. I think you toured with Tiffany, and it was you sort of became household names. But I think the second album really was the really huge multi-platinum one, Hanging Tough in '88. What that title song is so catchy that whoa, right out of the gate, we know it, we can sing it. But why do you think it worked so well? Why was it such a smash, man? Like an anthem.
Well, timing is everything. It was our fourth single off that album. And Please Don't Go Girl was top 10. Right Stuff was number 3. I think I'll Be Loving You Forever was our first number 1. And then Hanging Tough came. So it was a good timing to kind of have that like party record. And like, it had a sports theme to it, because originally, Donnie and Jordan and Danny kind of wrote that with Maurice, and they wanted just like an anthem for the Boston Celtics, and it ended up being like an anthem for us, and certainly a huge part of our discography, if you will.
I didn't realize it was an anthem for the Celtics. I didn't realize that. All right.
Well, we wrote it, and with that in mind. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Wow, cool. Then of course the next album was so it's Step by Step, and '90 was another huge. The title track on that was huge. How did you guys get the idea to sort of do it where each of you guys sort of sang a different part of that? I know, what is it? Danny sang step 1, and Donnie was step 2, Jordan was step 3. You, I guess, came in on step 4, and then Jonathan closed it out singing step 5.
Yeah.
Do you remember how the idea came about to break it up like that?
Well, that was that was a song from a Boston group that Maurice wrote it for, the Superiors, actually. And we would do some shows. And then when we blew up, it was basically a cover. You know what I mean? It was a cover song. We grabbed it. And one thing that was different, though, was the steps. Step 1, step 2. And I discovered recently, we kind of rediscovered stuff. People host different interviews. And I think Donnie pitched the idea of going through the steps the way we did.
Gotcha. Well, however it came about, it was massive, man. Well, I know the group, I guess you like officially disbanded in like '94, but thankfully reunited in 2008. Why do you think I'm trying to think. I think when we talked to Jonathan, he was just, I think he said he might have been the first to sort of to bounce, but like, why do you think that was like why did you break up? And I guess more importantly, how do you think it benefited you all to have sort of that time off so you could come back, stronger than ever in '08?
Well, we certainly didn't break up thinking we were going to get back together in 15 years. So that was not the plan. Although in retrospect, it was the only way it could happen. We for a lot of reasons, we were ready to do different things as individuals. We were super young. We wanted to have some freedom after 4 or 5 years of nonstop, hysteria. And it was a lot of fun, but like, you just wanted some space, and the music, had changed. Our taste had changed. By the time 2008 came around, we knew we had to do it on our own terms. A lot of people wanted us to get back together, and it was usually for, their award show. It was never because of, us and us doing it the way we wanted to. And then we finally were ready as a group, and by then, our fans had grown up and had, careers and families, and they needed that getaway, and you got to be at a certain point in your life to look back at all the nostalgia with an open heart, and timing is everything, and it worked out.
Yeah, that, and by then there's probably a whole new generation of fans. What's it like? I mean, because people probably come up to you guys that say like, "I had your poster on my wall," or "I had your doll," but now they're, their parents bringing their kids, and they probably passed the doll down to their kids. But is it
Yeah,
wild that you have like multiple generations coming out now?
it's very cool. I mean, we historically, you know, our fans' parents, one of the sort of elements to how big we got back in the day was that, if you ask me, it was the first generation of parents that did anything for their kids.
Mhm.
Like, they would drive all over the place. They would, buy the tickets. They would wait outside like that. Their parents didn't do that for them,
Right.
but like our fans' parents were unbelievable. So now now we have three generations in the audience, because then you got the moms who are now the older moms who are grandmothers. Then you got the moms. Then you got the young kids, and it's fun. It's really fun. It's cool. I mean, the idea is to make music that lasts, and so now kids can find music at the drop of a dime. And you look at a lot of acts that have been able to keep it up, and why not us? You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. And you really have, do you take pride that you're sort of that quintessential boy band? I mean, when you say that phrase, I mean, I guess obviously, before there was the Jackson 5 and then New Edition, like we mentioned
Yeah,
before, obviously, but like
yeah,
for like the modern era that we're talking about, like
yeah,
late 80s into the 90s, like you all paved the
yeah.
way for Boys to Men and Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and 98 Degrees. And I guess if you keep going, One Direction, Jonas Brothers, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Do you when you saw the success of all those bands, are you able to sort of step back and be like, wow, we sort of pioneered all that?
It's genuinely cool to be a part of pop history, like, firmly.
Yeah.
That's really, after that, you can't quantify, oh, we did this and this is how much important we were, and we did, without us, blah blah blah. It's like, to be like an honest to goodness, like, cog in the wheel of pop music, and this thing called a boy band is very cool, to share, the camaraderie, all these different bands that you appreciate and like. And certainly New Edition is our heroes. They always were, they always will be. And to just be friends with them, and to, collaborate with them a little bit over the years is a dream.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I know we're up against the clock, so maybe we'll have
Great.
to sort of rapid fire this final rapid fire one.
Okay.
I'm gonna mention, just throw out your group mates and just nothing embarrassing, but just praise them. What makes them great? Like, why is Jonathan such a crucial cog?
uh John, if I could pick a BFF in the group, it's John.
Oh,
And that's a miracle, because dynamics in the band, the reason why bands don't stay together is it's a lot and it's hard. And like, we butted heads over the years, but like, the miracle is that, like, we stayed together long enough, and we appreciate each other and he's been so sweet to me and loving, and I'm super happy for his success, with his show and what he's doing and his passion. So BFF would come up. All right, the next one, I'll try to rapid fire from now on.
no, that's good. That was a sweet thought. All right, how about Jordan Knight?
Jordan's the Zen master. He doesn't have to say much. He just leads with his, by example, and with his actions, and he's super funny. We laugh the most, the Jordan and I.
Love it. Danny Wood.
Danny is the soldier. He's like that that foundation. You know what I mean? He's fiercely loyal to the group, and he's a good guy to have in a dark alley. You know what I mean?
I love it. And Donnie Wahlberg.
Yeah, I mean, he's a born leader. He's a born leader, and he always says yes first to an idea. Because he just loves creating and loves taking chances.
What'd you think when you saw him in The Sixth Sense, man? In the he's the reason that Haley Joel solved Bruce Willis as dead people. I mean, he made him the dead
Yeah, yeah,
person. So that was so creepy and so good.
yeah. Yeah, he was. I'm happy for him and the work he's put into his career, his acting career, and it's certainly paid off. And yeah, I remember when he was losing all that weight, he was sleeping on the couch in my apartment in New York and just kind of really going method with it. And you know, he did his thing.
I love going method. So he was actually seeing dead people in real life. I
Well,
love
he's
it.
not the guy who saw dead people, though,
Well,
was he?
actually, no, I think he is. I think that was why he's tormented, and that's how Bruce Willis sort of figures it out later on. He like if I
Oh,
think that kid was also haunted when he was younger. Anyway, but all right,
copy.
finally, you. What would they say about you? What would they say about your plays in the group?
Uh, he shows up. He shows up. You got to show up in this business.
Yeah.
And I can be very opinionated and vocal about how I feel about things, but at the end of the day, I show up and I give it my all.
Well, thanks for showing up in this interview, Joey
Thank
McIntyre.
you.
Again, everybody, New Kids on the Block are coming to Merriweather Post Pavilion on August 16th for their Magic Summer Tour. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate this.
All right, man. Talk to you. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Our theme music is Scott Buckley's Clarion. Remember to give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time.